Thank you very much, Ima, for a very nice introduction, and good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today in this very special occasion. It's quite a unique event. I cannot recall an event of these features in Barcelona, at least for a very long time, for many, many years, with this kind of representatives and the scope of this debate. Let me first of all congratulate, of course, the Catalan National Assembly and the UNPO for the organization of this event and for the upcoming General Assembly that we hope it would be a great success. And special salute for all the UNPO members, representatives that are here today with us and are going to spend the next days in Barcelona. Let me say you welcome to Barcelona. Welcome to the capital of Catalonia, and welcome, hopefully, sooner than later, to the capital of the future free and independent Catalan state. As Ima mentioned, and I really appreciate this introduction that she did of our organization, the Catalonia Global Institute. We are new, quite new. We were born in 2021, roughly 2 years ago, non-partisan think tank focused on international relations and aimed at providing analysis and ideas on international affairs. With the particularity that we try to do so with the sense and aspiration of statehood for Catalonia. There are other think tanks, there are other institutions in Catalonia based in Barcelona working in this field, but there are unfortunately not other organizations with this focus, with this approach that understand international relations from the point of view of Catalonia being a subject that aspires to become, at some point, one day, an actor, a free and independent state of international affairs. And we are here today to present our 6th report, actually, which is called Secessionist Movements and Internationalization Strategies, Comparative Studies. But before beginning, let me, again, as Ima did so, but I would like to insist on this, on the situation of our colleague and good friend, Jofre Rocobert. He was supposed to be here today with us, sitting right here or somewhere here in this table, presenting together with us this report. He has been one of the authors of this report, but on Sunday he was supposed to take a flight from Khartoum back to Europe. And the day before that, there was an armed uprising by a rebel paramilitary group in Sudan. And since then, he has been trapped somewhere in that country, and the situation is quite uncertain. We really don't know when and how he will be able to be relieved and rescued and being taken away from the country. The situation is, as I said, quite uncertain. There are battles in some regions in the country, which make very difficult any sort of evacuation at this moment. So we are really following very closely the situation there, trying to be as much as contact as possible with him. And we hope that the situation will be solved sooner than later. And from here, we send once again all our support to Jofre. Having said this, yes, we will move to we have very limited time, so we'll try to be very brief. So, moving to the study proper, as I mentioned, our 6th study, I would like to devote some time to talk about the methodology and the motivation for it. First of all, the main motivation is pure curiosity and obviously interest into, from a Catalan perspective, trying to understand how national liberation movements of stateless nations have carried out their internationalization per diplomatic actions and strategies in order to succeed when it comes to the political goals of becoming an independent, fully or partially recognized state. We have chosen 10 cases of the 20th century and beginning of 21st century. And we really were very interested in to understand the best practices and to obtain know-how, which could be obviously used at some point by Catalan stakeholders and institutions and representatives, either from now or especially when there will be new windows of opportunity in the hopefully near future for the Catalan self-determination movement to move on when it comes to the goals of becoming a fully independent state. We have chosen 3 kind of cases, and in order to have a broadest as possible selection of possibilities and the range of different possibilities when it comes to actions, when it comes to engagement with international actors, not only with states, but also with international organizations. These 3 categories are, first of all, fully or widely recognized UN or non-UN members. And here we have 5 cases that we've chosen. Ireland, first of all, Slovenia, Israel, South Sudan. These 4 are fully recognized states, and therefore they are UN members, with all the rights as states recognized by all the international community. And also within this category, we included Kosovo, which is a widely recognized state, approximately by roughly 100 UN member states, but is not a member of the UN because there are some, especially 2 members of the Security Council, Russia and China, that veto its accession as a full member of the UN. The second group the second typology of cases is state-like entities with limited or non-recognition at all. And here we have 2 cases. Taiwan, also called Republic of China, and which is recognized by a handful of states, and actually was a member of the UN until the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. And Somaliland, which is present today. Ed Nadan is a representative of not only the president of UNPO, but also former foreign minister of Somaliland. So it's a pleasure also to count with a representative of one of the cases today with us, which unfortunately today still hasn't been recognized by any UN member. And the third typology of cases is cases that might enjoy some degree of institutionalization, but the international engagement is basically based in calling for some sorts of support because they do not have any sort of territorial control on the territory that they claim to be sovereign. What means that they are not de facto states. And here we have 3 cases that we have analyzed: Iraqi Kurdistan, Scotland, and Catalonia. When it comes to the regional distribution, we focus on 3 continents, Europe, Asia, and Africa. We have 5 cases from Europe, 2 cases from the African continent, and 3 from Asia. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, there are 4. It's Catalonia, Kosovo, Somaliland, and Taiwan. They are actual or former UNPO members. When it comes to what we have looked at, right? Here we have 5 aspects. First of all, we have the goals, all right? What kind of objectives have these cases try to achieve, especially when it comes to secure either recognition or secure a de facto favorable status. And later on, Danny will focus more on explaining the main findings on this aspect. The second one is the narrative or the arguments that have been used both from a political and legal perspective in order precisely to achieve these goals, addressed mainly at states but also at international organizations. The third aspect is the geostrategic environment and the exogenous interest. Here we looked at issues related with geography and geopolitics, right? What has been the framework, the geopolitical framework in which these cases have been developing their activities, and what has been the actual or potential role of actors, especially states, that have been that develop some sort of interest, either for, either against the success of these cases. And here we're talking mainly about, obviously, state and especially regional, both regional and global powers. The fourth aspect that we've looked at is the institutional action. That means what institutional and parastate means and structures have the cases developed, designed, and used to deploy a paradiplomatic or diplomatic action and activity overseas. And at the same time, we've looked at the interactions with international organizations, both regional and global one. That means the UN especially. And last, we've looked at the role of a basic fundamental aspect here. It is the role of the diaspora, right? How the cases have been articulating, using, making use, exploiting the fact that a part of their respective population are precisely in countries of interest when it comes to moving on with the goals of either recognition, either engagement, etc. Having said this, we move now to the findings. So I give the floor to my colleague Danny, and he will relate and continue with this. Danny? Yes.
Thank you, Abel. Well, unfortunately, as you said, we don't have much time, so I will go quickly over some of the main findings that we have found in this report. Well, regarding the goals, first of all, we have to say that, of course, international recognition is one of, well, basically the shared goal of every secessionist movement, and attaining full UN membership is also a fully shared goal. This makes life easier for any state, and of course this doesn't mean that the fact of not being recognized when you are exerting de facto sovereignty makes it impossible to exert this sovereignty and to exist in some more or less normal conditions. We have analyzed a couple of cases in this study, which are the cases of Taiwan and Somaliland, and we have seen that these states are indeed able to successfully engage with that recognition with other states, and that, for instance, they reach partnerships, they are able to successfully promote foreign direct investments. So in this regard, I mean, we have seen that it is possible to be independent without achieving this formal recognition, without achieving UN membership, no? But even in these cases, we clearly see that these de facto states do not renounce to the objective of attaining recognition by the wider international community and attaining full UN membership. In this regard, I have to say that parastatal structures that allow the establishment of territorial control are an important element when it comes to achieving recognition, and mainly because this creates a number of fait accompli on the ground that are difficult to ignore on the side of recognized independent states. But of course, this doesn't guarantee at 100% that you will receive such recognition. And the two cases that I had mentioned showed that indeed this is the case. But in most cases, it is an essential precondition for achieving this recognition. And we have also found that prior to declaring independence, a very important factor to lay the ground for recognition is the establishment of diplomatic or paradiplomatic structures that allow a secessionist movement to address key regional or international powers. And we have seen that it is essential to present a narrative, you know, that presents the secessionist movement and the potential independence of a country as a positive step towards the interests of independent states of the international community. And it is important to find common points with their foreign policies. It is important to present how potential independence can serve the interests of these states. And when such para-diplomatic activity is carried out in this way, the likeliness of recognition increases, and in some cases it is even more likely to obtain external support if circumstances allow. Oh, sorry. Now, success of para-diplomatic activities rely, among other factors, on projecting credibility. This is a very important fact that we see in the cases that we analyze. Major preconditions for projecting credibility, we would say that first, it is about showing strategic unity among all the actors that are involved in a secessionist movement. This is very important. And second, it is also important to prove determination to achieve independence and willingness also to achieve the costs that such a secession procedure can entail. And proving to regional or international powers that these conditions are met also increase the likeliness that these powers can consider seriously or in a positive way the bid for independence of a secessionist movement. Now, we have also found that most of the studied cases use in their narrative human rights cases, and that this is a very important element in this narrative. It is important because it makes the secessionist claim more understandable for the wider international community. It also appeals especially to international public opinion and public opinions of certain states that are considered to be important. It provides a very good framing for remedial secession, which is one of the main claims that is usually used by secessionist movements to justify the need for independence. Well, we have also found that, of course, relying on this factor only, normally without putting too much work on the other aspects that we have mentioned so far, normally leads to the failure of the objectives of a secessionist movement. I mean, using this discourse on its own without working on the other aspects normally doesn't get the support from main regional or international powers. And also, when it comes to projecting the narrative of secessionist movements, it has to be said that diasporas can play an important role. And of course, direct pro-independence advocacy is one of the main things that diasporas can do, and this is very important. But there are also other things that diasporas can do. For instance, they can engage in cultural and educational activities. In some of the cases that we have analyzed, these factors have proven to build a positive image of a country before international public opinions and the concrete public opinions of certain states. And diasporas are also very important to promote funding initiatives for secessionist movements. This is also something that we have clearly seen in some of the analyzed cases. And well, before we finish, I would also like to go back to one of the most important aspects that we have analyzed in this report, which is the consideration of the geostrategic environment and the exogenous interest of a secessionist movement. And well, first of all, it has to be said that being aware of the geostrategic importance and the potential assets that you can provide for regional or international powers is a key factor to maximize the possibilities of third parties' interest and engagement in favor of a secessionist movement and its claim toward independence. There are several geopolitical factors that can be considered here when building a narrative to present a potential secession as a favorable fact that is in line with the interests of a regional or international power. For instance, we can consider the important role that a potential independent country can play for the security interests of a certain power, also for the importance of trade routes and infrastructure, some transport network, also migration routes. There are many factors that can be considered and that can be used when building this narrative. And in any case, analyzing and exploiting global and regional geopolitical competition has proven to be very useful in most of the cases that we have analyzed. And finally, it has to be said that regional and global powers can be very, well, normally are very reluctant to recognize, to hold a favorable view on secessionist movements and the prospect of non-independent countries to become independent, because they fear the instability that such precedent could project for other secessionist movements. No? And, well, there are some things that secessionist movements can do in order to overcome this obstacle. No? First, it is one thing that we have also mentioned, the establishing fait accompli on the ground. This is something that it is very useful to modify the interests of regional and global powers that are affected by a potential secession of a non-independent country. And basically because fait accompli can project the idea that maintaining the unity, the territorial unity of a certain state is more costful than accepting the secession of the non-independent state. Fait accompli on the ground is essential to project this image. And then second, before engaging in declaring independence and trying to obtain territorial control, some of the studied cases, we have also seen that what they do to tackle fears of potential destabilizing effects of their independence is insisting on the unique nature of their situation, the unique nature of their claim for independence, and therefore, this way they try to reassure regional and international powers that they will not set a strong precedent by achieving their independence. They will not set a strong precedent for other pro-independence movements in the region or around the world. Well, basically, I don't think we have much more time, so I will leave it here. Thank you very much for your attention.
Yeah. Thank you for your attention. Just as a reminder, you can read and have a look at the report at our website. It's both published in Catalan and English at cataloniaglobal.cat. Thank you very much for your attention.